Hi, my name is Christine. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Braindate. So Braindate was created in 2011 to foster knowledge sharing in coffee shops. So it was really a citizen initiative. People would post topics of discussion on our platform and then book a brain date with a stranger and then have a coffee and learn from each other. So that was the genesis of Braindate, and we still carry those values. But in 2013, we were approached by C2 Montreal, which is a major creative event hosted then by Cirque du Soleil and Sidley. And so C2 Montreal asked us, could you do just foster the B2B networking at our event? And to be honest, I'm an educator, so I had actually never heard of the term B2B, so I had no idea what they were talking about. And then we said, well, we do knowledge sharing. And they were like, okay, you're a bunch of hippies. This is never gonna work with our crowd, CMOs and CROs. And then they thought about it and they came back and they were like, okay, let's give it a try. So we fostered brain dates at a major event for the first time in 2013. And in the 3 days of the event, we fostered 2,000 brain dates, which was more than 2 years in coffee shops. So we really saw how events are a space where folks are already gathered, they want to be inspired, they want to learn from one another, they want to have meaningful conversations, they want a place for belonging, and it's all things we generate with Braindate. So we just found a home in the event industry, and we've been fostering brain dates at amazing events such as South by Southwest and TED, worked with the Obama Foundation, so Amazon, working with amazing brands at iconic events since 2013. So Braindate, we are event technology, and basically we foster knowledge sharing at major events. And the way we go about that is by creating a technology that serves as a knowledge market, where every participant at an event can post a topic, something that they want to discuss, and can also book brain dates that are one-on-one or small group knowledge sharing conversations. So we create that technology, people post their topics in advance, and then we host them at the Braindate lounge of the event. That's a great question, because we really transform the way people relate to each other at business events. So just that within of itself, just that change of posture, change in culture that we generate at events, where people are not just going for transactional connections and transactional conversations and ways to relate to one another. We really create this space for contribution, for embracing our successes, our failures, and learning from each other. So we have thousands of amazing stories that are really moving, of people just having conversations that actually are transformative and will change their lives. So it's hard to find one, but my favorite one, if I just have to talk about one, would be again when we were starting at C2 Montreal, and now people know us, people expect us at events, so it's a bit different. The onboarding is different, but we still face this problem with the imposter syndrome. You wouldn't believe the level of people we meet that think that they have nothing of value to share. So we have a learning concierge on site in our Braindate lounge. So a big part of the work we have to do is onboard people and help them to find what is the knowledge that is very specific to their own lives, to their own successes and failures, that can be of benefit for other folks. So that's a big part of the work we do on site at events. So back in, I think 2015, we were at C2 Montreal, and we were at the Braindate lounge, and a young woman came to us. And she was like, what is Braindate? And so we explained what Braindate is. And then she was like, I have nothing to share. Like, I don't know, like all these people here are senior, I'm 21, And we were like, no, for sure you have something of value. And so we digged with her, and we tried to find what is it that she can share on the platform. And so she had an idea, supported by the learning concierge, to share, her topic was, I can share my millennial perspective on your product. So she put that on the platform, and that year she was the most popular participant at C2 Montreal, which we talk about like 6,000 people from all over the world, from the creative industry. So just it goes to say that what we want and what really thrives and works on Braindate is very unique topics that are perspective. She was not an expert on, the millennials. She was just a young woman herself, and her perspective was of value of their participant in the audience. First of all, I would say thank you. I really think that right now we need compassionate leaders. We need a redefinition of what leadership means. And women are, by nature, leaders. We've been carrying our communities for so many years. We've been caring for our communities for so many years, educating. We are natural leaders, and it's just that our style of leadership is not really recognized right now as something that is valid, but I really truly believe that it is. And I think in terms of advice, I think it's so important as women that we invest in self-care and self-love practices, and it's not something I just say as a buzzword that we hear constantly, because the work that needs to be done right now is difficult. We need a change of posture in the way we relate to the world, in the way we lead our society, our businesses, but nobody will give you permission, and if you wait for somebody to give you permission to feel valid, you're not going to be focusing on the right work, because the work that needs to be done is different and it's controversial. So as women, we need to support each other so much, and we need to find a way to assert ourselves and feel that love for ourselves without needing somebody else to tell us that we're worth it. I think to create spaces for deep connections and brave conversations, we really need as leaders to embrace the idea of white space. We need to embrace the idea that in order to provide more value, you don't necessarily need to create more content. As leaders, I think we often put that pressure on ourselves that we need to, host that space by providing the content, providing the experience, providing the guidance. But sometimes what people need is actually just more white space so that they can fill it with their own priorities and their own needs and their own contributions. And especially when we look at the youngest generation, they don't relate to authority the same way that their predecessors did. They actually want to be seen as valid. They're already content creators in their lives. So really creating that space for their content and their contribution to shine, I think is absolutely crucial. I think that my most memorable speaking experience was when I spoke at Morgan Stanley's Women Leadership Summit. I was not very in tune with the industry of financial advisors, and I really discovered a community of very strong and educated women that see financial independence and financial literacy as a way for women to regain power over their own lives. I hung out with a bunch of activists, and I wouldn't have thought that financial advisors had that that conviction. So it was really transformative for me. So for Braindate, we're launching a new set of features we're really excited about called Gatherings. So it's all about helping our clients to generate knowledge sharing within their community, but not just once a year at their annual event or their customer event, but really throughout the year over what we call gatherings, which are rituals around knowledge sharing in communities. So those rituals, those gatherings can be held once a month or once a quarter, but the idea is to keep involving people in knowledge sharing in between annual events. I think something exciting that's coming from me, and it's still connected to Braindate, but we're launching our first podcast. So it's called The More the Brainier, and it's a podcast that will host creative experience makers, event marketers, folks creating amazing experience for their communities, and they will come on the show with their burning questions. And our role as guests and me as a host will be to guide them to find solutions or new way forward regarding their burning question. So it's kind of a supercharged Braindate. So we're really excited for this. And for me, it's kind of coming back to my first loves, because I was a podcast producer in 2008 in New York. So I'm really excited to be a host and to be able to welcome people in the studio and support them with their burning questions.